politics and royalty walking tour was memorable. We started off by taking the train to Victoria Station. It was quick and easy. Once we arrived, we headed to the Buckingham Palace. The weather was just perfect. The sky was blue and I was glad that it had stopped raining. The atmosphere was lively. Tourists were everywhere taking photos even though it was Monday. The palace was massive and grand, and the gold statue in front of the palace was shining under the sun. I was so impressed by how everything was carved nicely. After visiting the palace, we walked towards Westminster Abbey. On the way, we strolled down the street in Westminster. The street was lined with beautiful classical buildings. It didn't take us long to reach Westminster Abbey, a historical church. The tall pointed towers were fascinating. It has intricate details with the carvings and arches. We were given time to take some pictures of this gigantic structure, and we also got to get some souvenirs from a nearby shop. I bought a keychain. Although it was a bit expensive, it was totally worth the money. After that, we strolled along River Thames, where we saw the London Eye. It was massive. I wish we had the time to take the ride and enjoy the view of the river in such perfect weather. We had some time to take pictures by the river. From this spot, it was also possible to see the Elizabeth Tower, which was fantastic. We then spotted a small crowd nearby. It was a girl singing. She sang the songs that people had requested. One of them was a very hit song at that time, Die With a Smile by Bruno and Lady Gaga. Her voice was very sweet. We ended up spending the rest of the time enjoying her music. The last stop was the National Gallery. We didn't go inside, but we viewed the exterior. It has grand columns and wide staircases. It stores many famous artworks worldwide, ranging from different eras. It was just so unfortunate that we didn't have the time to see all those iconic artworks.
The British Museum is known for its variety of collections from all over the world. During our visit to the museum, we are offered a 2.5-hour free time for us to explore all over the museum. I first went to the Egypt exhibit and the Africa exhibit, which are next to each other. The statues and the carved stones were gigantic and fascinating. Walking through these ancient ruins made me wonder how people back then thought of ways to carve and build them. It was truly mind-blowing, and quite magical at the same time, as while I was walking through the exhibition room, the air became dense and suddenly I felt like burning as the temperature in the room increased. It was as if I were walking inside a pyramid or a giant tomb of an ancient pharaoh. Then my friends and I went to the ornaments and tableware section. The room was filled with funny and interesting ornaments and beautiful tableware made during the 16th to 18th century in Europe. I saw a few ornaments that were inspired by animals. However, they all looked quite different from the real animals and somehow gave a sense of humor. That was interesting to see. I also noticed that the tableware back then was very different from what we have now. Tableware back in those days were less colorful and were more detailed. Most of them were made with silver and sometimes with gold to lighten them up. I also learned that during the 19th to 18th century, if a lady did not wear gloves outside, they would be considered not elegant and even unveiled. It's rather shocking for a person born in the 21st century. At last, I went to the section dedicated to Islamic culture. The section shows that Islamic countries used to wear and how they did missionary work. There were also some carpets hung on the walls, and some were huge. Although they are kept beneath a wall of glass, you can still see clearly the carpet's patterns and details. I was truly impressed by the quality of those carpets. After walking through the museum, I went to the souvenir shop. I bought a small ornament that looks just like the Sphinx in Egypt. Its shiny coating attracted my eyes, so I bought it.
On the fifth exciting day of our English study tour, we were treated to an unforgettable experience. a trip to London's magnificent Apollo Victoria Theatre to see the world-famous musical, Wicked. Our adventure began in the afternoon. We traveled by train from the Greenwich to the bustling heart of the city, Victoria Station. The musical Wicked tells the story of the two witches, Elphaba, who becomes the wicked witch of the West, and Glinda, who becomes the good witch. They become unlikely friends at first, but their relationship is tested by their contrasting personalities, conflict, and other challenges. Furthermore, the sound effects and props were wonderful. The sound design was so immersive, it was almost startling. And the props were incredibly realistic. The background skins were also amazing, creating a truly magical and believable world on stage.
For the Thameside walking tour, we first went to the Borough Market. I tried the paella at the market. It is a type of food from Spain that contains seafood. For example, my paella includes 2 large shrimps and some mussels. It tastes good, and the seafood mixed perfectly with the rice. I finished the whole thing while it was raining. Then we went to the Tate Modern. It wasn't a part of the tour that was originally planned, but since there was heavy rain, we went inside to take shelter from the rain. But surprisingly, there are some paintings with very high artistic value. After that, we visited St. Paul's Cathedral. It's arguably one of the most historic cathedrals in the world. Different buildings in the Canary Wharf were required to build in unique shapes to make the cathedral clear. Next to the cathedral, there was a statue with 2 soldiers holding a cannon. Also, there was a circle full of remembrance poppies. It was in memory of the British soldiers that was death due in World War II. Lastly, we visited one of the best landmarks in London, Tower Bridge. We walked on the bridge and it looks phenomenal. When we walked down to a garden near the bridge to take a group photo, luckily we saw the bridge open. There's a big ship sailing past the River Thames, and the cars from both sides of the bridge stopped. We were lucky to see this scene. We walked past the shot when we were going to the station. I bought a Paddington bear for myself because I think that this symbolizes London, and I've seen this bear since I was small. And also, I bought a can of English breakfast tea with a picture of a typical London bus to give it to my grandma. It looks very cool. And I also bought a pack of tea that contains 6 flavors from Fortnum and Mason, one of the most famous tea brands in London. I bought a pack for my family, and they all said it contains rich tastes and it's one of the best teas they have ever had.
We first went to the Natural History Museum on the 26th of July, which is one of the most famous museums in the United Kingdom. It is famous for its dinosaur bone collection and its architecture. The museum was big, so we didn't have enough time to look at all the collections. However, we went to the mammal exhibit, which shows loads of animal specimens such as whales, bears, and even dolphins. There were exhaustive explanations next to the specimens, which helped us learn more about the animals. Then, we went to the dinosaur exhibit. The exhibit shows the famous Tyrannosaurus rex skeleton, also known as T-Rex, the skeleton of Iguanodon which is a dinosaur of the early mid-Cretaceous period, with a broad, stiff tail and a thumb developed into a spike. There are also the skulls of a plant-eating Triceratops. But the most notable thing is that the model of the T-Rex can move. It's quite interesting to see, as we can imagine ourselves being next to the dinosaur. After walking around the museum, I went to the souvenir shop and bought 2 Aura Cross geodes. Their colors captivated me, and as a person who can't resist shiny objects, I had to buy them. After going to the famous Natural History Museum, we headed to the V&A Museum, where lots of copies of world-famous objects are kept. We first went to the sculpture section, where the entrance hall of the section was filled with sculptures built in the Mediterranean Sea area. Most sculptures were from ancient Greece and Rome, so they were mostly themed around myths of gods and the sea. The sculptures made with marble sparkle under the bright light of the room, adding an enchanting temperament to the sculptures. Then, we moved on to the cast courts, where sculptures were mainly from Rome. While I was walking around the court, 2 tall columns, the Trajan's column, caught my attention. I learned that they were built to commemorate the Roman Emperor Trajan's victory in the Dacian War. The column has details of the battle, and it was mesmerizing. Then we went to the section dedicated to Islamic world. The section shows tons of carpets made from the 16th to 19th centuries. It also shows some clothes that people living in the Middle East used to wear. Paintings and ceramic tile were also shown. At last, we went to the section of Chinese art. The section shows tons of copies of clothes, furniture, paintings, and ornaments from the Qing dynasty. Although I only went through a very small part of the section, I spent quite a long time there. It's surprisingly big and quite interesting to see my country's art appear in other countries. I love this museum and I do recommend it a lot.